Hi mate, how you going? Last November 2019 I moved to Sydney, Australia, where I lived for a couple of months until unfortunately Corona ended my new adventure way too early. In today's video I will be talking about some of the difference between Europe and Australia. I was in doubt what to name this video because some things might be more of a Dutch thing than a European thing, and since I only lived in Sydney, some things might be more of a Sydney thing than an Australian thing. And these are my opinions, they probably aren't all facts, so if you disagree with me or you have something interesting to add, please make sure to leave a comment down below. Anyway, let's get on with it because I got a lot to cover. I'll try to talk fast and keep it short. Here we go! So let's start with the most obvious ones. Number 1. They drive on the left side of the road and the steering wheel is on the right side of the car. Now, I guess most of the people already knew that, but what I didn't expect is that it would be so hard to get used to. I'm not kidding, after 2 months I was still doing this for like 20 seconds before actually crossing the road. Also, I had to drive a truck a couple of times, or as they say, a UTV, which stands for utility vehicle. And it's just really weird to be changing gears with your left hand instead of your right hand. Strange. Number 2, maybe even more obvious than number 1, the climate. It is hot as balls. In the summer though. I like to think that my geographical knowledge is on point, but about Australia I figured I was pretty ignorant because I thought it was one big desert, meaning it wouldn't get cold and there wouldn't be any rain, but no. Now luckily for me, I arrived when the summer started, since the seasons are the other way around, but it does get cold and it does rain. Especially in the south of Australia, where I lived in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, it can get pretty chilly in the winter. Not as cold as in some European countries though, but not hot. And I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think that if you go a little northern in Sydney, Darwin, Cairns, Brisbane, those cities, I think it's pretty much hot all year round. Number 3 has somewhat to do with number 2, the sun, or better said, the ozone layer. For some reason in Australia the ozone layer doesn't do its job as well as in other parts of the world, meaning you'll burn much faster. When I just arrived in Sydney, I was working outside in a tank top and it was pretty early in the morning. I think I started at 7 and I finished at 1, so I was like, it's not that hot yet, I probably don't need sunscreen, I can wear a tank top. No, I burned my ass that day. Ouch. Number 4, the electrical outlets. I don't understand why everywhere in the world they must all be different. Why can't we not just decide on one outlet and that's it? Anyway, in Australia they are weird, not just because they're different, but also because you can turn them off for some reason. Number 5, school uniforms. I think maybe except for England, in Europe you can wear whatever you want. In Australia everyone wears uniforms. Number 6, shoeless walking. I still find this very strange. There's all kinds of shit on the floor, but people didn't seem to care. You don't see it that much in downtown Sydney, but as soon as you go towards the beach, Manly, Bondi, you see it all the time. And I'm not talking about on the beach, I'm talking about on the streets. People just walking barefoot. I don't know why. 7, helmets. In the Netherlands there's more bikes than people, yet nobody wears helmets, unless of course you are one of those garbage people. Nah, I'm just kidding. Just don't be a dick. Anyway, in Australia helmets are mandatory, not only on the bikes but also on the little scooter thingies. And yeah, I get it though, because in the Netherlands we have bike lanes everywhere that are separate from the actual car lanes, but in Australia not so much. Number 8, the salaries are a lot higher in general. I think the minimum wage is around $20 and most of the times it's even more. I was working in construction for a while and I was making 18 euros an hour. Number 9, you can make even more money as I'm not sure what the word is, a crafts profession, working with your hands. Even as a foreigner, landscaper, electrician, those kinds of professions. I've heard about a plumber that was making 3,000 a week, not a month. So if you have a certain trait, a skill, you're a plumber already in the Netherlands or wherever in Europe, I recommend going to Australia and make bank for a year. However, number 10, it's expensive. The salaries are a lot higher, but so are the prices. Some examples, I had a bedroom, one bedroom, sharing the bathroom with 7 other people. All the common areas I had to share them, and I was paying $400 a week. A banana is basically $1 a piece, and don't even start about alcohol. I bought a 6-pack of Belgian beers once, and I did a calculation that if I would go to the bar in the Netherlands and buy one of those beers, it would be cheaper than the whole 6-pack in a store in Australia. Oh, and alcohol in a bar or a club? Bro, if you get a shot of something, whiskey, sambuca, whatever, they actually measure it. I have never seen this anywhere else. Usually the bartender just fills up your glass, right? And if you go somewhere often enough and you befriend the bar staff, maybe they'll give you a little extra. Not so much in Australia. They have these special little measure thingies, which they pour it in first, and from there they put it in your drink.
One whiskey coke, that'll be $170, please.
You do have some sort of wine here, they like to call goon, which is really cheap. I think it's like 5 liters for $10. However, goon, not for me. If you drink 3 glasses of this, you'll end up somewhere in a field 5 hours away from the city with your eyebrows shaved off and some random object stuck in your ass. Yeah, not a fan. It's disgusting. If you do want to get drunk cheap, I recommend Fat Lamb. I've discovered this with some friends. It's nice. It's a bit too sweet, but it's okay. It's cheap, affordable, and it does the job. Number 11, the nightlife. Alright, so when I was making this video, I realized that this part was way too long. It would have taken up 1/3 of the video, if not more. So I decided to make a separate video just about the nightlife in Sydney. If you want to see this, please don't forget to subscribe. I'll probably post it next week. And I'll put the link down below if I do, and in the end credits of this video. Number 12, the political correctness. I feel like in Europe we are starting to get more and more like America, as in, can't say this anymore, can't say that anymore, can't make a joke about this, can't say that. You really gotta watch out what you're saying or somebody will get offended. In Australia, they don't seem to care as much yet. For example, every morning I was on my way to work in the truck with my colleague, and he had this radio show on called Moon Man in the Morning. And they were saying things on there that I thought to myself, whoa, they can say this on the radio? Sexist jokes, racial jokes, curse words, they got it all, and I loved it. Not to make this video too political, but I think it all has to do with the context something's being said in. If it's just a joke, then it's not meant to hurt somebody's feelings, it's meant to make people laugh. Okay, number 13, the Shoey. I've lived in America for 2 years and I thought that those people were weird with their drinking games, but Australians take it to the next level. They do this thing called a Shoey, and when I first heard about this I really thought it was a joke, but it isn't. I've seen it happen. People just pour their drinks in their shoe for some reason and then drink it out of their shoe. Okay. Why? No fucking idea, mate. In the Netherlands, we have just one drinking game, and it is called drinking. Number 14, the animals. Now, of course, we know the obvious ones. Kangaroos, koalas, fucking spiders, snakes, and even crocodiles, mate. Sure, but something you don't hear as often is about the birds. Bro, I don't know what they feed these birds, but they make the strangest noises. There's one that sounds like, I don't know, a mixture between a 100-pound crying baby and a cat being raped. And then there's another one that really sounds like a monkey. They're everywhere and they're weird. Oh, and the flies are annoying as shit. Everyone that has ever walked on the Pyramid Bridge knows what I'm talking about. I don't know why these flies are different, but they really aim for your head and they want to stay there as long as possible. Number 15, paying at the front of the restaurant. I am used to have the waiter or waitress come to me and give me the check. I put my card in or my cash, they go back to the register and come back with my change. In Australia, you have to go to the little booth at the front of the restaurant or to the bar or whatever and pay there. Why?
I don't know, maybe because they're lazy cunts, eh?
Number 16, the laidbackness. The stereotype of Australians is that they are super chill, laid back, nice. Now I must say I don't fully agree with this. Most of the Australians that I worked with were really laid back and nice, but I've had some moments in the city that I was just flabbergasted by how rude some people were. Especially in the nightlife, police, security, bartenders, I felt like they all had a stick up their ass, which I will get into more in the video from next week. Also in the supermarkets, I feel like most of the people working the registers were not having a good time. One of them was so rude that I didn't even know how to react. Did that ever happen to you, that you're so confused about what's happening, you can just laugh? Like, huh? The girl, she was just like,
Meep, meep, meep.
literally throwing shit in the bag.
50-80. Next. I reckon she was having a bad half, eh? Relax, mate.
Anyway, I still decided to put the laidbackness in the video because from what I've heard, it's a bit of a Sydney thing. If you go anywhere else in Australia, people are a lot more relaxed, chill and friendly, and the stereotype. And again, people that I personally met, colleagues, friends, Australian tourists that came from other parts of Australia, they were all super kind, super friendly. So yeah. Number 17, the public transport. This is one people seem to have mixed feelings about, but I was very positive about the public transport in Sydney. In the Netherlands, when it rains, when it snows, when it hails, when there's a breeze, when it's too hot, when it's too cold, when it's too average, you're gonna be late. The rest of Europe, I'm not sure about, but I'm guessing there's a lot of places where you cannot trust the system, and in Sydney I didn't have problems once. Also, if you go from, let's say, Groningen to Maastricht in the Netherlands, make sure you get your salary first because it's gonna cost you. In Sydney it's super cheap, and on Sundays I believe the maximum amount you can spend on one ride is like $2 or so. I went to the Blue Mountains once, which is a back and forth, I don't know, 5-hour trip, and I spent less than $5. Imagine going from Amsterdam to Maastricht for €3. Number 18, the hanging dryers. What's up with that? I have never seen this before anywhere in Europe. Maybe they have them, but I haven't seen them. And in Sydney, they seem to have them everywhere. Every house I've been in had the dryer, like the washing machine just on the ground, and then the dryer hovering above it, attached to the wall. Guess it saves space though. Number 19, the money. In Europe, as we all know, we have the euro, which is pretty colorful. In Australia, they have the Australian dollar, but unlike the American dollar, which is what, like greenish, grayish, it's pretty colorful as well. However, it's kind of see-through, which I think is pretty cool, right? And also it feels like sort of a very thin plastic instead of having the paper feeling that European bills have. Also in Europe, the coins go from small to big as the amount gets larger, but I hope I have it. Oh yeah, I have it. This is an Australian 50 cent. Look at that, it's huge. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think in Australia, the higher the amount, the smaller the coin. Maybe this is an exception, because I don't think I've seen bigger coins than this one. Alright, look. This is $2. Pretty small. Alright, the last one, number 20. McDonald's. Or as they say in Australia, Macca's. Australia, mate. Macca's. We're going to Macca's. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but Macca's is what they call it. Now, I don't eat a lot of fast food, because in my opinion, it's all poison. But maybe once or twice a year, I like to poison myself with a McFlurry, because they are just amazing. Australia, why don't you mix up my McFlurry? And what's that stuff you call ice cream? I don't want to be negative, but change it. Alright guys, those were the 20 differences that I could think of. Please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to drop a comment down below and please subscribe if you want to see the video next week about Sydney's nightlife. Ciao guys, adios!